Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fight League Atlantic Exposure. Sorry for yelling. I'm excited. It's episode 146, sponsored by our good friends in Prince Edward Island, maritimemadness.com. 30 different flavors of hot sauces, rubs, challenges, you name it, they have it, and it's delicious, made locally in Prince Edward Island. Check it out. We got a fantastic episode here today. Really looking forward to it. These are two athletes who I've known and worked with before, and seeing them progress in the last number of years. These two have really taken over. They're based out of Winnipeg. They train down in San Diego as well. Claire and Max, they've came out here to the East Coast. They've competed on Chokes by the Ocean. They competed on West Coast Chokes. They've competed and won multiple NAGA titles. Also wrestling champs, Western Canada Games champs. The list goes on and on here. And just wonderful kids who really have a bright future in whatever kind of things that they choose. But when it comes to sports and skills and mindset, it's super impressive to watch these two kind of do what they do. And they have a wonderful set of parents who kind of support them and have really kind of, to me, that's the biggest thing. When you see people support and give them a kind of a platform and support what somebody loves, the sky's really the limit, and it's cool to see. So let's bring them on, let's chat with them, and let's see how they've been doing. So welcome to the show, Claire and Max.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Obviously, welcome back. It's been a while since we've caught up. Claire and Max, how are you guys doing out in Winnipeg?
It's been pretty good. We've still been finding ways to train, which is, really important for us. And recently the weather's been nice, so we've been able to go outside a lot more. So, we've been doing the best we can.
Nice. You've been, obviously you're rocking that Riverside. I think it's Riverside, right? River City Wrestling. The River City Wrestling shirt there. Do you do any outside workouts?
We do like strength training, lifting weights,
yeah,
running, that kind of stuff.
The good weather, it's obviously going to be a big help. So being in Winnipeg, we just spoke about this off the air a little bit about the restrictions. They're slowly kind of opening up, which is great. Have you guys been able to train at all out there?
So our jiu-jitsu club has been putting on Zoom classes for the past couple months, and it's been really great because now that Max is getting older and he's closer to my size, we can be partners for each other.
Awesome.
And utilize that opportunity.
It's huge. Well, let's kind of get into it right from the beginning. Obviously, I spoke about your parents there a little bit. Wonderful people who I had the pleasure of meeting. For you guys, how did you get into combat sports and into, how did you find this? Obviously the route for a lot of people is traditionally hockey in Canada. Why did you choose this route?
Max actually did play hockey for a little bit at one point. But then jiu-jitsu and wrestling kind of happened, and he was like, I don't know about that anymore. But so when I was 7, Max was 4, I decided that I wanted to start with Taekwondo, learn some of the striking and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't been doing Taekwondo for about that long until my dad, who's here with us, had a friend who he found out he was starting a kids jiu-jitsu program at Titans MMA in Halifax.
Mm-hmm.
And it was exciting. I was a little unsure about it because I was already doing one martial arts. So
picking up another one, yeah.
Tears happened at the beginning of every class. Max was super into it right away. He's 4 years old, full of energy. He's like, let me take people down. And so then, that progressed on from there. We started doing wrestling in order to help with the stand-up aspect of it and the takedowns. And then eventually when we moved to Winnipeg, we got into the more competitive side of it and went all over, like you said, thanks to my lovely parents.
Interesting. So you guys, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking? I can't remember.
I'm 17.
And I'm about to be 14 in April.
So that's what I mean. These are skills and memories that you're never going to lose. Having combat sports background. Do you think, what are your goals?
So upcoming in the future for me, this is grade 12. So after that comes university, and I've been applying to schools in Ontario. So the goal is to wrestle wherever I go, whether that
Nice.
be Guelph, McMaster, even Lakehead, maybe in Thunder Bay. The goal is just to wrestle and just constantly get better. And
Nice.
that's-
What about you, Max?
I don't know. I want to coach someday, and I just want to improve the game and really make a difference.
Nice. Very well said. Yeah, it's that's the thing. Like, is someone listening there? Is it on? Like, is someone watching the podcast in that room?
Oh, so we've got you pulled up on. We have an Apple TV, so that that we can see like the pictures bigger and everything. So if like a notification pops up or something, and we also
Okay, it's just.
with
Okay.
without
Okay.
it.
It's weird. It's just echoing a little bit, so I hope it's not bothering you on that end. Sorry. Okay.
Try and
Cool.
turn it
That.
down, maybe.
No, it's good. Maybe turn it down just a little bit, but it's not bothering me. I just wanted to. Okay. You're originally from the East Coast, am I correct?
Yes, Nova Scotia.
That's right. That's right. So when
My
you
mom
guys
was
came
born
out,
and raised.
Tatamagouche?
No, Truro.
True. Yeah. It's so a lot of people don't know this. When you guys competed for us in Chokes by the Ocean, you actually drove out here all the way.
Yes, we did. We've got a Chrysler minivan that has seen lots of things. We've had it for a while. It's driven all over the place. It's done the trip from Ontario to Nova Scotia, back to Winnipeg. It's driven all through the states. Oh yeah, California, Vegas. After Western Canada Games, we drove straight to
Nova
Vegas.
Scotia. Oh, geez.
So, been all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up, again, I was quite similar to yourself, except I wasn't very skilled. So I didn't travel all over the place, but my parents had a Ford Aerostar. So they took us to all our hockey games, and having a supportive structure is especially in right now in COVID, you're seeing a lot of it. And that's a fond memory I have of you guys and other kids that, competed for us a lot. There's so many great parents out there who are really supportive of this martial art, and it's what's moving the sport, truly. Do you see that in your school? Do you see like, yeah?
So my school doesn't offer wrestling. There's some high schools in the city that do. So then in those schools, you kind of get that like more school community sense. My school doesn't offer that. My school is more of a performing arts high school,
Okay.
which I do as well. So in terms of schools, there's like for me and Max, if we want to wrestle, we wrestle outside of school. But like when we talk to other kids and athletes our age, like you said, it's a lot of hockey, a lot of, I know I have a lot of friends who are football players too. So it makes us unique in the sense that those are our own experiences. But it also, I feel like, makes our community of the kids in the city that do this even tighter.
I love that. I think it's so important, being unique and having different interests is really what makes the world so special. And I think the more people who kind of embrace jujitsu and kind of are like, oh, okay, like this is a really great competitive sport that does a lot for people. Like being obviously, you're 17 and you guys and 14 and you've come up kind of doing these sports. What advice would you have for other kids that kind of are maybe thinking about it, or are just kind of starting off and would love to get to the level of you guys?
Max, what would you say?
I'd probably say don't get down on yourself. There's just still so much in the world and you're so young that you still have so much to offer. And even if one thing doesn't work out, there will always be another opportunity.
Oh yeah, 100%. And also just like embrace that some days are going to be hard. There's going to be maybe a bit of a learning curve if you're brand new, but just make sure that you're surrounding yourself with the sport and, learning all that you can, picking up anything and making sure you're paying attention to those details and just making sure you're wanting to get better.
Yeah, that's what I love having like people like you guys are like 14 and 17, and that advice is as good, if not better, than 90% of the people in this sport. Like this is why I love interviewing people, and like I'm 40 years old and I can learn from this interview. I can learn from anybody of any age, and I think that's such a beautiful thing. And you're super wise, kids. It's very well said. Um, on the flip side of that,
We've had great role models over the years.
let's go into that.
Yeah, like we've
Such
had
as?
Leticia Hibero, Rita Gribben, who really helped me when I first moved here. She's from here, but now she trains in San Diego, and she's pretty close to my size. So she was really helpful in like kind of learning, if you're small, but you're going like training with bigger training partners, how to work through that. She's also flexible, so she's taught me all kinds of stuff with that. Max has also lots of great kids to train with down in San Diego, some of your friends.
Yeah.
So, it's been great to have, role models, people that will help us learn and grow and take the time with us. And especially Leticia Hibero, she's, head instructor at Gracie South Bay and East Lake. She's always been so welcoming to us whenever we go, making sure that, we're treated just like any other kids that train there. So she's always open to having us.
That's such a cool opportunity.
Balance Jiu-Jitsu.
Nice.
Matt McDonald, his wife Marcia, and then their son Logan, who's been a fantastic training partner for us too.
Yeah, well said. Well, surrounding yourself with those people, positive people, people who want to see you grow, people who want to see you succeed without bias, like they want to see you succeed without wanting anything in return. And those are the people you need to always surround yourself with, and people with similar goals. And it's great. You guys are really going to be super successful in whatever it is you choose to do, whether it's jiu-jitsu, coaching, being a scientist, going to the moon. I don't know, but it's going to be fun to see. So what about let's talk about going down to San Diego. I struggle still myself going into clubs as a black belt. Sometimes I get anxiety. Do you guys get anxiety, or as kids are you like, I love this?
Max, as you get older, it's harder. But
The first time I went to San Diego, it was kind of shocking because like they were all so welcoming, but it's like this level of intensity that I just wasn't used to. And it was like, whoa, this is the real deal. And then as I progressively got to know them and train with them more, it just got, I don't know, it just took my game to another level.
Definitely. And then with me, of course, you're putting yourself into a new situation with new surroundings. Thankfully, we've been able to go more, so it's not as new every time. But in terms of like anxieties about that kind of thing, I've struggled in the past with like pre-fight anxiety, especially before tournaments, especially if my bracket is really large. That can be quite stressful for me. And so it's been interesting with COVID, now that we've had a bit of a break from tournaments, to be able to look back and reflect and think, okay, so now that I've had this break to look, what are some strategies that I think that I could implement to help with the nervousness? Because it can be a good nervousness, right?
Totally.
You can be excited and motivated. So it's just been a lot of learning. As we've gotten more involved in the competition scene. You know, it comes in ups and downs, but in terms of training in San Diego, they're so great to us. Yeah.
Nice. Again, very well said. Exposing yourself to those environments is so important, though. And, you know, again, doing that at such a young age, putting yourself down there in San Diego and learning the whole thing of, okay, I need to get better. And now this is the real deal. When you went and you compete at like an IBJJF, do you notice any big differences? Like obviously there's a few differences, but compared to like a local tournament like the Manitoba Open or something like that, what are the big differences for you guys?
Well, now that me and Max are in two kind of age groups, there's some differences. So Max, what would you say the differences are with your kids?
Well, it was really easy to sort of tell, like, when I first started going to Pants, I was like younger. I was like 10 years old, and it was like, oh, I can kind of hold my own here. And it's like there's just more you have to do as these kids get stronger and bigger and older, and there's just so much more to it as you grow with the game.
100%, and also because I've always been in kind of different age categories than Max, I've noticed that, for example, when we go to a sub-challenge tournament per se, there's more of like an EBI kind of rule set. So, the sub-only factor, and it's sometimes it can be difficult if you do, like, we used to do sub-challenge tournaments and then more IBJJF style tournaments back to back. So
yeah, that'd be hard.
Remembering when you're going into an IBJJF style tournament, there's a point system here, so we have to be careful. A lot of the points are on top, so don't spend too much time, on your back. Even though I love playing guard, so does Max. We also have to keep in mind where the points are in the game. Yeah. Whereas at a sub challenge, there are no points.
Yeah, it's go for. What do you guys prefer?
I don't know. Which Max was you?
What did you say? We didn't exactly.
Oh, sorry. Like what rule set do you prefer? Like we're having some technical challenges.
Oh.
Yeah. Which one do you like more?
I would probably say, even though it's a lot stricter and harder, I like the IBJJF because, like, when you do something, I feel like you're rewarded for it, and it just pushes you when you see that you're down in points and you know you have to do something. It just, for me, it feels like I have to do twice as much as I was already doing, and it just pushes me further.
Me personally, honestly, I find that it has to do with my mindset before the tournaments and like the stuff that I've been working on. So if I've been working on a lot of guard game, which I love, especially when I go work my way through the rubber guard system and the 10th planet kind of stuff, going into a sub challenge tournament where it's EBI rules, it can feel a little more comfortable, even though I go up in weight and size and age a lot. We were fortunate enough to train with Richie Martinez as well down when we were in San Diego, so he was kind of helpful in giving us some insight on that EBI style tournament. And then some days IBJJF style tournaments can be intimidating, especially if you have a large bracket, but it presents a really nice challenge, like Max was saying, to face. So either one, you adapt, you overcome, you learn, you grow.
Yeah, that's it. You win or you learn at the end of the day, right? And it's I think that's super important for any kind of up and coming athlete to, again, expose yourself to all those situations. And if that's your goal, then you should be running with opportunities, truthfully, when it comes to jiu-jitsu tournaments and stuff. And I think a lot of people do. The scene in Manitoba is how's it been lately?
it's been hard with COVID to not have, our annual Manitoba Open. I think we actually do Manitoba Open twice a year, a spring one and a fall.
Yeah.
So that's been hard to not have that tournament because it really is a great, everybody kind of comes together for it. A lot of times, it's people's first time competing at that Manitoba Open. So it's been hard to not have that, but I feel like we've all done good, especially with balance in our Zoom calls. It's been good to stay together and feel like even though we're not in person, there's still a class at 5:30. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then advances after. And then if people aren't fortunate enough to have a partner like me and Max, they've got great solo drills classes for those people too, so that everybody feels included. It's also been great. We've been testing out, that with wrestling as well. We did some wrestling calls, and it was nice to, see some faces that maybe we haven't seen in a while, even if they were on a screen. And when two kids are such great friends with the rest of their community, we've got phones, we've got iMessage, text, chat, so we keep in touch that way, even if we can't train together in person.
Yeah, it's family. It's as corny as it is, it truthfully is. Like you become really, really tight with people over this this weird thing that we call jiu-jitsu. So it's I love seeing people like you guys so passionate about it and spreading the good word of jiu-jitsu, and you're super great ambassadors for the sport. So keep it up, keep doing what you're doing. And a couple more questions though before we do go. Advice, like I asked you, advice for kids. What do you have advice for parents who their kids are getting into jiu-jitsu or grappling or combat sports?
I would just say be supportive as possible. Like, no matter what your child does, just try and be supportive as much as possible, and just really push them, but not overwork them. There's a level of there's a level to it. You can push your kid as hard as you want, and they will get better, but you need to balance it out.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, definitely. And then in terms of your relationship with them while they're in the sport, just make sure that you always let them know that you're there for them. And I think you said it earlier, you win or you learn. So always being in their corner to remind them that, what? You may have lost the battle today, but there's gonna be more. We know that COVID hopefully is not gonna last forever. So we know that when we go back to that, our parents are going to be right there with us with their mouth guard in one hand, water bottle in the other, being like, you can do this. You can do this. So, and willing to drive us anywhere that we want to go. So just make sure that, you always make sure that they know that you're there for them.
Awesome. There's not much more I can say on that. It's wonderful to see. It's important. Love and being there for one another is a super important thing. So keep it up, you guys. Keep doing what you're doing and keep winning. Where can everybody find you as soon as COVID's over?
Well, on social media, if you want to follow us on there, our Instagram is The Martial Arts Kids, but the letters are all lowercase, and there's an underscore in between. And then Facebook, it's Claire and Maximus, but the N, it's not like Claire and Maximus, it's Claire and Maximus.
And
with the letter
that's
N.
right.
So you can check us out on there. We, even though we haven't been traveling, obviously, we still post stuff. We're still active, techniques, things like that, and updates about us. So you can check us out on social media there. And in terms of physically where we are, we'll be here training.
Awesome. Well, one last final question. Anybody right now kind of thinking about getting into combat sports. If you could say one thing, one quick sentence to convince them to try it, what would it be?
It's a life skill. It 100% is. You know, we've learned over the years that combat sports is it's a beautiful metaphor for life. So
It really is.
It's a life skill.
Keeps you humble.
100%.
What do you think, Max?
Well, I'd say like life gets boring if you don't try new things. So like, why not? Just go for it.
Man, there you go. There you have it, folks. Future superstars right here and whatever they choose. I'm telling you, you guys make sure you get out there and follow these guys on Instagram, social media, and just follow their journey all over the world, training and competing and just being good people. Any final word for sponsors or anybody, folks?
You know, thanks to BC Kimonos, who's always been, you know, really willing to work with us to make sure that we have gis that we need, that we feel comfortable in. They've been super helpful over the years. Cranked Energy, who's always been super supportive. You know, their bars are delicious. They're so good. You can find them at www.crankedenergy.com.
Nice.
And Jellyfish Float Spa, who's, you know, they've always been super helpful when it comes to recovering our bodies, you know, with the float sessions. I highly recommend them. Getting out to the float spa.
I got to try that myself. I've heard lots of good things, so I'm gonna try it someday. So, all right, guys. Well, you keep it up, and please pass on the good word to your parents. Again, I believe your father is in the military, or was, if I'm correct.
He is still in the military, yeah.
So thank him obviously for his service and doing what he's doing, and I appreciate it. And yeah, you guys just keep doing positive, great things, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
Thank you so much for having us on here, by the way.
Of course, anytime.
We want to come
honestly.
back to Nova Scotia soon. You know, train down there. If you have an event down there, you know, we would love to do that too, be a part of it. So thanks for everything.
We'll get you in the cage. We're doing. We just did one in October because we can't do MMA. We're shut down until June, but we did a grappling event in our cage, and we're going to do another one on April 9th. So it's a little bit of a different format, but it's grappling pretty much in the cage. So it's super fun. So yeah, check it out. All right, folks, there you have it. We'll catch up with you soon. Okay, guys?
Thank you again. Okay, talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. Great episode. Whew, man, you get chills talking to those two. They're so smart, so mature, and just wonderful kids, and well, almost adults now. And it's kind of I've been gray through the years since doing these events, and I've probably aged a lot. And it's cool to see people kind of grow through the sport with you a little bit and doing well for themselves, being successful, and just being positive people. So I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. Kids, reach out if you want to get on here. I'd love to actually interview some more athletes, kids, anybody. If you're interested in jump on, just let me know. We're kind of booked for the next month, but after that, I'd love to have you on. So that was a great interview. News in Nova Scotia today. The restrictions have now been released. Last week, they tightened them up. This week in Halifax. Now this week, they relaxed them again, which is great. We're still moving ahead April 9th with Submission Kumite 2, 16 men in a bracket inside the FLA cage. We have 3 outside sub-only matches and then a co-main event between hometown girl Charlene Barkhouse and a female to be named at a later date. So that'll be a great co-main event. Super excited to get them back on there. And yeah, everything's going well. So keep being positive, keep being good, keep being good to one another. And we will see you, I don't know when. We have a couple more interviews. We have Ed Soares from Ed Blackhouse from LFA, the president and owner of LFA, coming up, as well as, a couple others. we'll see you soon, folks. Again, be kind, be good, be positive, and yeah, see ya.